Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Stephen Christopher, and I'm here with my co host, Andrew Olson, and our amazing Annabelle Gettle for another episode of Two Dads and Business podcast, where we talk about all kinds of cool stuff about life, about business, about being an entrepreneur, mindset, all kinds of cool stuff like that. And then also specific to the home service industry, we got a cool little home service corner that we talk specifically about home service businesses, marketing, because Andrew and I do also own the marketing agency Wit Digital that's specific for home service. So let's get into today's episode. Today, we got a couple questions for Andrew. So, Andrew is the CEO at Wit Digital and came in a couple years ago and really helped us grow quite a bit.
I love it. I'm in. I'm ready.
And
I didn't know this about me.
and the
but
great part
I
is,
do love it.
the great part about us is we're totally children, but yet running a very successful company. And that's one of the things we talk about a lot on this show is just the reminder of having fun while we do business. And so, so if you could, Jesus. We're falling apart today. One of our really good buddies, Brian Bergford, who is also the kind of the in-house coach for a lot of our staff, as well as me and Andrew, has a famous quote saying, you know, today might just not be your day, and some days you just ain't gonna be the Dalai Lama.
We're good.
So as Andrew
We're
fixes
back and live.
as Andrew fixes his microphone, Andrew, what's the last thing that you did that was fun?
Trying to think of a good one that's just not your normal, like, oh, I hung out with my kids or my family. Not that that's not fun, but we do that often, and we're fortunate enough to hang with our families pretty frequently. I think something kind of different and cool was going to Siesta Key, visit client with you and Greg, our buddy Greg, and just get some downtime doing something different that we normally don't do. We all hang out all the time. And, I think a good kind of message for everyone out there and business owners, mix it up. It's great to plan a trip once a year or whatever, but how often do you hang out with friends or family and kind of just do the same thing? Around here, go to the mountains in Colorado or go to the beach if you live near the coast or something like that, instead of picking something different that kind of gets you a new perspective, new environment, kind of gets everyone out away from their normal day-to-day life. So I thought that was a pretty cool recent trip. And then, as mentioned, we are fortunate that we get to spend a significant amount of time with our families, which is always a fun thing. And it doesn't really need to be a big over the top hoopla thing. I mean, the kids riding bikes and riding those little electric Jeeps and whatnot around was a great weekend. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good reminder for everybody. A lot of times in business, we get so caught up kind of doing the same thing, right? Like how quick can we get to the office? Can we get in earlier? Can we work a little later? But the human brain doesn't necessarily work like that. It needs different things. It needs different inputs. It needs different perspectives. It needs things to be able to kind of settle so that your really good ideas or new ideas can get put together. And so I think a lot of entrepreneurs think that if they just work a little harder doing the same thing over and over, that it eventually will get better. And that's not really the case.
Yeah.
Like go do something different. A lot of my best ideas are nowhere near the office. A lot of them are in the shower or sitting at a red light or something like that, where
Yep.
your brain is kind of it's doing some sort of a mundane task that keeps kind of the voice in your head busy. And then all of a sudden you get this flash of inspiration.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, do that. Or, oh, call this person. And you call that person and like, oh, I was just thinking about you. And I just happen to have a couple clients that want to come over or something like that. So yeah, get out and do different stuff, get different perspectives, like let your mind piece things together in a different way.
Yep. Well, maybe that's a good topic for the home service corner. Is it's so easy for all home service guys specifically to got to get to the office and be in the mix and married to the minutia of the business. And not that it's not important, but what if you went out in public and shook hands and said hi to the community and, went to your local, took one of your guys that isn't busy and went to a local breakfast spot and just get away from the desk and refreshing Service Titan over and over and over again, hoping that you see something different or, calling the same parts guy or getting a hold of Ferguson because some order didn't come in. Like go mix it up, leave the office.
Yeah. Well, hey, that is a perfect topic for the home service corner. Back to basics. It's something that I've heard you talk about a lot with clients.
Yep.
Especially right now, right? Like the world's in a different spot than it was a couple years ago, and it's becoming kind of back to normal challenges to run
Yep.
a home service business. It's not just easy. It's not just pick up the phone and there's hundreds of people calling every day. And so, Andrew talks to a lot of our clients every week, and I've heard him over and over talk about back to the basics. So, I mean, share some of that stuff. Like if
Yep.
somebody's, what does that mean? Like kind of getting back to the basics.
Well, it's funny, we talked about on a previous episode, don't chase the shiny object, don't buy into every little new tool that's out there. And I think that's a huge component. Sort of what got you to, call it the $1 million mark. That seems to be the sweet spot for all these people with home service companies is I hit him by finally broke $1 million. Like now it's a real company, if you will. And so cool. What got you to the $1 million? That is the hardest growth portion that's out there. I mean, the deal with any business. Getting that $1 million number is the grind. And so can you find a way to implement the same things that you did as a sub-million company, just trying to make it happen that you did when, can you implement those in a bigger organization? Just because you're 20 million, 15 million, 7 million, whatever it is, doesn't mean you can't still take your guys out, do family picnics, sponsor teams, just go what, if you're in especially smaller markets. I mean, that's the easiest is go walk Main Street, go say hi to everyone in the restaurants and in the shops, introduce yourself to the new business owners, let them know you're here, get MLS lists and just swing by and introduce yourself. And everyone says, oh, door knocking doesn't work. Well, when you're the owner of the business, it works extremely well. It's very disruptive when the owner's like, hey, I own a pretty good size, plumbing HVAC company, and I just wanted to let you know we're here and we care about our community and we'd love to help. I mean, that's impactful. Yeah, maybe not as much if it's, some tech that's just like, I want to slap a door hanger on, but how'd you get to $1 million?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know we have some clients where we've told the owner, hey, make 5 phone calls a day.
Yep.
Call 5 of your existing clients out of your CRM every day. And we got into this mindset where like I think a lot of people forgot the value of one lead.
Yeah.
And that, they just are all focused on how do I get 100 leads? Well, the value of one lead is extremely high. So if you went back in your CRM and called 5 of your existing customers a day, like you said, especially as the owner, that's going to be extremely impactful.
Yep.
And I know some people listening are saying, well, nobody answers their phones anymore. And that's kind of true. So to get around that, leave a voicemail and say, just say who you are, just call in to check in. I'm going to call you tomorrow between 10 and 10:15 just to see if there's anything that I can do. You'll be surprised how many people will actually answer the phone for you
Or
when you call back.
Because tomorrow
Yeah,
at 10
yeah,
is
yeah.
annoying to them. And so they're like, I'd rather just call this person back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the value of one lead is really, really high because even if they don't need your service right now, they have 10 friends. They obviously work with other people in the community, and then somebody's going to need a plumber and they're like, oh man, call this guy. Here's his personal cell phone number. Here's her direct office line. It's valuable. Like,
Yeah.
don't forget about the value of one single lead while you're chasing down, 50 new leads a month.
I mean, COVID times were nice for everyone. Demand was insane. And, we all got a little spoiled on what do we do to capture new business. And it's like, yeah, but your old business still needs work.
Yeah.
And their friends, their family. And, it's not a hard recipe. It's just one of those you can no longer fully trust Service Titan's gonna blast out my auto text, and but I'm already touching that person because I have 3 email campaigns set up to stagger and go out with 2 texts. So therefore they've been talked to, and it's like we're all numb to getting that. I
Yeah.
mean, all of us. I get 50 spam text messages a day. I've thought about changing my phone number because it's so annoying to me. And so knowing that somebody calls and leaves a message just because they care, like that's impactful. I mean, we just had some pergola guys come quote doing a pergola, and believe it or not, my wife was like, "Hey, found this company." We called a whole bunch. None of them were either getting back to us, or we would get the automated email that was like, "Hey, we're extremely busy, but we care about your business and we really want you to, know that we're here to help." And so somebody will be in contact within 48 hours, and magically nobody follows up. And it's
Yep.
these large companies. Then you get another automated email saying, "Oh, we're so sorry, but we'll be with you in a day," and kind of keeping you on the hook. My wife was driving and saw a nice sign stuck in the ground of a median, like in a planter bed by this company, and it was just their logo, the name, and they were like well printed, they wasn't like written with Sharpie, but
Crayon and left-handed.
exactly. But it was just nice printed out yard sign that just said, "Any pergola needs, call us."
That's awesome.
And that was it. And so she called, 2 dudes show up, and they're just the nicest guys, and they're like, "Yeah, we're happy to help." And we always, if there's hey, we'll get you this quote, but if you also know anyone, like we're a local business, we're looking for any other referral we can get. So if you know somebody, and I'm like, man, how big are you guys? You guys must be under $1 million a year in revenue. It's like you're still kind of doing all the right things. And like we talked about, caring about the community and the customer first, not trying to figure out the margin and the bottom line and all of those things. Yes, they're important, but if you do those, you in turn get the bottom line. So kind of just keeping it simple and going back to the basics.
Well, we even have some of our like $40 million a year home service company clients doing stuff like this, and it's working extremely well.
Yeah. They got tired of the PPC racket.
Yep. Well, especially with, everything swings. The pendulum always swings, right? Yep. And so think about direct mail, right? Direct mail worked really good. Then direct mail didn't work so good. Then direct mail worked again. Now direct mail is kind of like halfway on the way out, at least in some of the markets that we're seeing. Same with like cold calling, same with door knocking. So just because something stopped working well doesn't mean it's dead forever. And so we're kind of in this swing where I think a lot of companies are trying to lean out. A lot of people are jumping on the AI bandwagon. I mean, even having AI answer their calls, and people are kind of getting tired of not being able to talk to another human. And so the whole really good customer service and customer experience is kind of making a comeback, and it's really, really important. And so
I think generationally it kind of gets lost. You are likely not your end customer anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you're just getting started. Like if you've been doing it for 7, 10, 15, 20 years, you are no longer the most prominent new business for yourself. And, the 30 to 40-year-old individual grew up with cell phones. They grew up being blasted with technology and internet and computers and laptops and iPads, and where it was really neat to older generations, and it was kind of the new way, and it was more convenient, and it was easy, and it was like, man, texts work and emails work and all these things work. If you have a younger demographic buying their first home, second home, whatever it may be, they want to talk to a human being because they've never experienced that before. They've only ever had technology to deliver information. And so even we tell everyone, doesn't benefit wit. I talk more people out of PPC and LSA than I do into it. I think everyone should run an LSA account and expect nothing from it. And if it works, that's awesome. But, we're all playing the Google game. And even PPC, it works really well for a lot of clients in the right market, but you have to be the right person with the right brand in the right market with the right budget. It's not as easy as just, give me $2,000 and, we'll make magic
Mhm.
happen. It's just no longer the way, and people don't convert like that are your true end user kind of forever client. And so how can you capture them?
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Cool. I mean, I think that's a great kind of home service corner. Get back to basics. Don't
Yep.
be afraid to do those things that you were doing when you were, like Andrew said, under $1 million. And just remember the value of one lead.
Yep.
It's extremely valuable. Go back and do these things. The people that are willing to do this right now are the ones that are going to really be winning over the next couple of years.
Yep.
There's a huge opportunity for it in every market.
Yeah. I mean, if you're sitting there kind of wondering, how is that company still doing really well and I'm not? And we were both doing really well during COVID. Well, they likely invested in, when the money was good, into brand, into community, showed up. They doubled down on all of those because they had the financial resources to do so. And so, maybe look at that a little bit in your business and go, cool, if I'm feeling the pressure, where did I maybe not do this and what can I start? And the cool part, it takes time. It's more or less free. Print out coloring books, print out. I've been telling everyone, if they're in a small medium market, what are the local breakfast spots? Call up every one of those breakfast spots, ask if you can be the one to print out the kids menu. Send me the kids menu. I'll go get it printed with our logo and some fun graphics and all of that on there with our branding all over it. I'll print you 250 of them. Go to 10 breakfast spots and do that.
Yeah.
Parents are staring at it. Kids are staring at it. They're literally coloring it. Kids going, what is this? I mean, it's simple stuff. You don't need to overcomplicate any of it. And so, yeah.
Cool.